Look at the clock on your wall. Look at the date on your phone. We treat these numbers as neutral tools, a simple way to measure our days. But time is a legal boundary. The calendar you follow dictates whose jurisdiction you live under. In the beginning, Yahuah established a pristine order. According to the Genesis record, the celestial lights were not placed in the sky randomly. They were strictly appointed to govern signs, seasons, and divine appointments, known as moedim. This diagram illustrates the original cosmic clock, an unbroken, 364-day solar rhythm. The sun perfectly divides 4 equal seasons and exactly 52 weeks, independent of the moon. Under this system, sunrise triggers the start of a new 24-hour cycle as morning light crusts the horizon. To walk within this specific sun-driven calendar is to step into legal alignment with the original jurisdiction of the Creator. To step outside of it is to step into exile. Before human empires existed, time was entrusted to angelic guardians. The Book of Jubilees identifies these beings as the Watchers, and their original mandate was to protect the sacred order of this 364-day cycle. But the Watchers rebelled. When they descended upon Mount Hermon, they targeted the very mechanics of human reality. They betrayed the divine calendrical knowledge they were sworn to protect, trading sacred order for earthly manipulation. They handed mankind a fractured rhythm. They taught humanity to track chaotic lunar phases instead of the steady sun. They introduced astrology, tying human events to wandering stars, and turned the measurement of time into an instrument of sorcery. Ancient civilizations adopted this corrupted system. This cuneiform tablet shows the early Babylonian documentation of these false celestial grids. By implementing these observations, mankind severed its connection to Yahuah's true solar time. This early shift was a calculated act of cosmic warfare. By scrambling the calendar, these fallen entities obscured the divine cycles of redemption, ensuring humanity lost track of their appointed meeting times with the Creator. The Book of Daniel contains a specific warning about an earthly power that would attempt to manipulate these divine boundaries. Chapter 7 declares that an entity would speak against the Most High and think to change times and laws. That prophecy took physical shape through the Roman Empire. Rome recognized that controlling the calendar meant controlling the world. They executed a systemic overhaul of timekeeping to consolidate their own global authority. In 46 BC, this man engineered the first massive earthly calendar shift. The Julian reform institutionalized a 365-and-a-quarter-day year. This mathematical adjustment broke society away from the 364-day divine order, forcing humanity onto a drifting schedule. The resulting structure was chaotic. This is a fragment of the Fasti Antiates Maiores, an ancient Roman calendar. You can see the non-linear lettering and complex festival markings. Romans mixed arbitrary day counts with pagan months, naming their seasons after false gods and dead emperors. By accepting this calendar, the world entered into a binding legal covenant with the successors of Babylon, living by a schedule authored by human conquerors. By 1582, the Julian calendar had drifted so far out of alignment with the actual seasons that Rome intervened again.
Pope Gregory XIII issued a mandate to fix the drift under his own ecclesiastical authority. Religious councils enforced this new time standard. Through papal decree, they locked in a system overriding biblical authority, demanding that all nations synchronize their lives to Rome's calculations. The mechanical fix was an outright deletion. The Pope wiped 10 days from history, jumping directly from October 4th to October 15th. To keep the seasons from drifting further, Rome implemented a complex and irregular leap year system. This animation illustrates the collision of these two calendars. On the left, the smooth 364-day wheel maintains its steady count. On the right, the Gregorian gear violently skips. Every time a leap day is injected, it fractures the continuous weekly cycle, knocking the true seventh-day Sabbath out of its creation alignment. The Gregorian system also cemented a secondary deception. It forces the new day to begin at exactly midnight. Instead of rising with the light of the sun, modern society was trained to start its daily cycle in the darkest hour of the night.
The Gregorian calendar functions as a temporal trap. It forces modern humanity to operate on a frequency that ignores the solar witnesses and divine appointments established at creation. This creates a severe functional problem. If you observe a Sabbath or a feast day based on a Gregorian date, you are participating in a counterfeit rhythm. You are arriving at an empty meeting on a day the Creator never sanctified. Many who seek the truth feel a deep spiritual disorientation. They feel out of sync with the world because they are trying to live out a righteous calling while remaining trapped under Babylonian temporal jurisdiction. Biblical prophecy relies on this 364-day architecture. Take the 1,260-day prophecy in Daniel. On a Gregorian calendar, this number results in a fractional year that drifts across seasons. On the 364-day solar cycle, it resolves into exactly 3.5 years, each year a perfect 360-day count, plus 4 corner days. Without this specific solar framework, these prophetic timelines lose their precision. Time is a legal framework. If you remain bound to Babylonian time, you remain bound to Babylonian law, and you will miss the ultimate redemptive seasons. But the original rhythm is not lost. Across the world, individuals are waking up to rebuild the ancient 364-day paths, preserved in texts like Enoch and Jubilees. They are the new calendar keepers. Returning to this order requires physical and spiritual action. It requires rejecting the arbitrary dates of Rome, abandoning shifting lunar dependencies, and waking up to track the days by the morning sun. Restoring this calendar is an act of reclaiming the ground stolen by fallen angels. By rejecting the Gregorian trap, you are re-entering a legal jurisdiction where your time and your worship are once again synchronized with the Creator's voice. Time belongs exclusively to Yahuah. The schedule of earthly empires has an expiration date, and the beast's clock is ticking down to its destruction. The only question left is, whose clock are you living by, and whose jurisdiction will you submit to?